Alec, you talked about outcome-based models, the results-based models and whatnot. I understand you have a methodology called Flex Agility. Can you describe how you use this to establish a mutual understanding at the beginning of a client relationship?
Certainly. Actually, it's a package that we handle as a company's product, as it were. So it sort of went through all of the traditional product management process, and this is how we're hoping to reinforce Outsourcing 2.0 model. So Flex Agility is a package that is fixed price, agile engagement. And really the key to establishing this kind of engagement is an upfront sort of expectation management process that allows us to understand from the point of view of the customer how different features and aspects of the project are valued by the customer and how complex they are. It also allows us to establish a very specific governance of how the project execution will happen, as well as a strict change control process via which we can control the fixed aspect of the project, and that is collaborative and involves all of the key personnel from the customer's point of view. It also goes through establishing decision-making criteria, so there is no misunderstanding down the road on our part in terms of how the value is established by the business or IT, whoever is the ultimate customer. So it's a very well-defined process with very specific stages. We have trained personnel that conduct the collaborative sessions that go through this expectation management exercise, and that allows us to establish a very clear execution path. Obviously, that goes hand in hand with a contractual relationship that allows us to, or where we accept the risk or a certain risk of execution, and also establishes the fact that the customer can stop the development or terminate the development at the point in time where sufficient amount of value had been delivered by us during the project execution. So sort of the incentives on both sides are to deliver as much value as we can as quickly as possible, while orchestrating the delivery in a very well structured, predefined manner, preceded by a very extensive sort of expectation management exercise that involves all of the key stakeholders. So as I mentioned, this is a very well-defined product from our perspective. It is horizontal, so it's not industry-specific. However, there is a path and a roadmap to have industry-specific variants of that would allow us to come into the project with higher level of industry content and certain predefined patterns and specific means of delivering functionality that had been derived from prior customer engagements. So there is going to be a subsequent set of Flex Agility product delivered by us that would be specific to various industries that we do business in.
Interesting. So you say package. It's an actual product, including software?
Methods? No. There's no software.
Okay.
However, there are very specific means of running the project, including a set of tools that we use internally to track the progress and report that are very specific. We measure the committed characteristics such as, for instance, the velocity of development. And we commit to a certain velocity of development.
Meaning what? Meaning?
In essence, the speed with which we're able to develop the work at hand.
All right.
And that's one of the ways the commitment works on our part. In other words, once we establish the velocity at which the project had been scoped to go, the commitment on our part is to maintain that. regardless of the staffing levels.
Okay.
So that's one of the aspects of the fixed part of the engagement, and that's an example how we measure execution.
So you make that visible to the customer as well?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's very attractive, I'm
Absolutely.
sure. Yeah.
Yes. It's completely transparent.
We find a lot of customers really are interested in that level of transparency, certainly.
And I think it's extremely beneficial because, in the simplest example, you can have a lot of people working, but if you don't know how efficient or effective they are in doing their job, the value becomes very questionable.
Yeah.
But if you know exactly, the velocity with which the project is proceeding, you've established the measurement characteristics up front, then it becomes very easy.
That's rather interesting because we find, for example, some customers that work in a labor arbitrage and try to make the transition, they find it very useful to understand how fast the work is being done, how fast the resources are being consumed, so they can identify situations where the effort and the deliverables are out of whack, and thereby try to get an early warning, as it were, of a engagement gone wrong. So.
Precisely. Well, in our case with Flex Agility, this is sort of institutionalized in the approach and the methodology.
Yeah.
That's something that we publish upfront as well.
Very good.
And it does involve educating the customer in the governance and what it takes to run a project like this, which is more effort than just basically a traditional engagement. But we think the results are vastly superior.